beginning and at the end about Anfang. And the middle I'm not allowed to tell you because it is too long. That would be about my sister that survived 2 concentration camps, and at the end of the war she was 4.5 years old. She came out of the war with a little bit with my help. I came out with her help. And today she has 4 children and 23 grandchildren.
Beautiful.
And she was a very good teacher. Okay, but that's another story. She was very sick 3 times. Twice I was sick, and so she had some miracles to come out. But we start with my father, that was born in Germany, and he was born in an all-assimilated Jewish family. And when the First World War 14-18 started, he was sent to Poland as a German soldier. Then he already was a journalist and an economist. In Poland, he was a single child. For the first time in his life, he met these big religious Jewish families. And he was so overwhelmed that when he came back from the war, he went to be a religious man. When he came back from the war, he got a very good job in the Office for Domestic Affairs in Berlin. He went to be the advisor to the Minister of Domestic Affairs. And in 1933, when Hitler came to power, the whole government had to step down, and then Jewish people were not taken back. And he took my mother and me. At that time, I was a single child. He took us and we went to England. England sounds good, no concentration camps. Not that we knew about. And so when he came to England, and he in meantime was a religious man, in Germany he would not work at the Saturday. He would come, he would see the mail, would go to synagogue, and Sunday all alone he would sit and work. And now in England he got offered a very good job with Unilever, but the moment he told them that he cannot work on Saturdays, they said, goodbye, we don't need you. And there we stood. And nobody asked me, and my parents had 2 possibilities. Or to go to America or to Palestine, but they took the second possibility, you said? We went to Holland. But who could know 33 what will be in Holland very quick, very short afterwards. In Holland they rented a very small 3-room apartment. There we lived, and my father opened a little office. The purpose was to help all the Jewish people he was sure that will flee from Germany to another country. And he wanted to help them to reach other countries, but that was very hard because more and more borders were closed. And so he had to help them to settle in Holland. He took in a lawyer, also a refugee, and my mother, that was a teacher, went to be the secretary of the little office. First week in Holland, mother took me to the grocery shop, and we met another lady with her little girl, also a German refugee. The ladies didn't know speaking Dutch so quick, and they started to speak, and it came out the lady was Mrs. Frank with her little daughter Anne, and they lived exactly next entrance from the apartment where we lived. 3 girls looked at each other, that was it. Several days later, mother takes me to kindergarten. I don't know anybody, I don't know the language, I want to go home. And there I saw that little girl from the grocery shop, but I saw only her back. She made music on little bells, and the moment she finished, she turned around, she saw me, ran in my arms, and that was it. From that day, we were very good friends. And through us, also our parents were very good friends. That was not so hard because they were very, very nice people, mainly Mr. Frank. Look, about Mrs. Frank I cannot tell you a lot. I didn't meet her anymore. After they went to the camp, she didn't come back. Mr. Frank, you all once read the diary, I hope. If not, you still have many years to do it. And so when after the war, the only one that came back was Mr. Frank. And so I met him. He very often came to visit us here in the country. He was very, very special. He also got a lot of letters from young German people that wanted to know what happened. And he wrote every letter himself. He would answer. That was very, very important to him. He was also, he was very special. He was with the young people. I know when he first time came to Holland to visit us, I invited him with his second wife, and I wanted to show my children, 3 children. He said, oh no, children, no. I wanted to go to his hotel. And he said, no, children you have to meet at their home, at their room. So we invited them for a meal, and then from then there was a big friendship between my children and Mr. Frank. He really was very, very nice. And Mrs. Frank, as I told you, she was a very good housewife, and maybe she was a very nice lady. I cannot tell you a lot about her. Then there were 2 sisters, Anna's 3-year-older sister Margot, a beautiful girl, very obedient and excellent at school. And Anna and me, we were exactly the other way around. Anna always wanted attention. To get attention, she did something very funny. She could take out her shoulder out of the socket. Yeah, but that can be very dangerous. And you need sometimes an orthopedic doctor. But she could do this. Everybody in the class would look. You wouldn't see it, you would hear it. It would go, it would go by knack, knack, knack. And if everybody would look at her, then Anna was very, very happy. That's, in America, you would say she was, oh, how do you say this word? I always forget. It was something special. How do you say such a word?
Precocious?
No.
Extrovert?
Maybe later I will remember. Okay, she very much wanted attention. She always had a notebook in her pocket. We were at the Montessori school together, first in kindergarten and then 6 years in elementary school. And in the breaks we had to go in the garden. She tried to stay inside. She would take out her notebook, she would start to write like this, and shield the things she was writing. And if somebody dared to ask, what are you writing, what was her answer? Not of your business. So we don't know what she was writing. But later I learned, after the war, she not only had a diary, but that she got only very short before they went into hiding, 3 weeks. She also left us little stories, very nice stories. And she wrote these stories from very small till the end. And every story, you may be in America in libraries still gets a little book, Tales of the Secret Annex, but there are all kinds of stories about dwarfs and all kinds. And then there's always written Anne Frank and the age she wrote the story. And one story I only saw lately and I was amazed. There was written Anne Frank, 15 years old. That will say she was in hiding. What a little girl in hiding is thinking. Very short story. Why are we not nice to poor people sometimes? And if we hurt them by accident, we not all time, every time say sorry. I don't know. The little girl in hiding, where is she thinking about? She didn't meet poor people and she didn't hurt anyone either. I don't know. Very special. And then we did everything together. You know, all the Jewish holidays were in our home because my father now was a religious man. Mr. Frank was brought up exactly like my father, but he stayed like this his whole life. He never learned praying or reading or speaking Hebrew. And so all the things, Yom Kippur, you know what's Yom Kippur, our holiest day, Mother would send me with sandwiches to Mr. Frank and Anne, because Mrs. Frank and Margot, the 3-year-older sister, were in synagogue praying, and Mr. Frank and Anne would fix the food for the fasted part of the family. I had to eat my sandwiches and went back to synagogue. And so really everything was at our home, but not Yom Kippur, and another day not, 31 of December, not a Jewish holiday. The Franks had a little party, 3, 4 couples, I don't know. But my parents wouldn't have parties at 31 of December, but they were invited. And so I had to come with them. I was the only child. I learned with Anna in the same class. We were at a non-Jewish school, so there was vacation. We could sleep together at 11:45. They would wake me or us up. We would get a donut or something, and the next day we could play. 11:45, we could have with the others till 12 o'clock. So really, Sunday, Mr. Frank also would work, and after 12 o'clock or so, we would go all together with a train to the beach, to Zandvoort, and all kinds of nice things we would do always together. We had Christian friends, Jewish friends. Today you have a lot of Muslims in Holland, but then we didn't have anyone. And so we had quite a normal time till the Second World War started. But also then nothing changed in Holland. It started 1st of September 39. We heard about it, but that was it. In Holland, the trouble started after the invasion of the German army. We had a 5-day war from 10th May till 15th of May 40. At these days, the Germans invaded Norway, Holland, Belgium, Luxembourg, and France. In France, there was a 6-week war. We had only 5 days. The day, the 14th of May, the Germans bombed the center of the city of Rotterdam, and they told somehow the Dutch people tomorrow it's Amsterdam. That was the end. The Dutch had to give in. In the beginning, again, nothing changed. In Poland, immediately, the Germans started with laws against the Jewish people, because they knew Polish people hate also Jewish people. Or we will say don't like them. In Holland, they didn't know. They had to try out. And it took a year and a half till they found out that also the Dutch don't like Jewish so very much as we hoped. The Queen from Holland, in this 5 days of war, she fled with most of her ministers to England. And she could speak by the BBC to her people in Holland. And that she did very often. But at that time, no one put his head to this. Today, with all the research we know, the Queen never told her people by the speeches, you could or you should help your Jewish friends or brothers. But today we know if she would have said something, much more people would have thought of helping or would have helped. There was a lot of helping to Jewish people in Holland, but there was much more help for the Germans. And the Queen should have or could have changed this, but she didn't. And that's very sad. And so in Holland it started after a year and a half, and then it went very, very quick. And today we know that 85% of the Jewish people from Holland didn't come back from the camps. And that is even higher than Poland. Not the number, percent of Jewish people. Yeah, In Holland, it started that everybody got an identity card, and we Jewish people got additionally printed inside a big J for Jew. We had to wear a yellow star. We had to be at home at night from 8 o'clock till 6 in the morning. And then every day something else. Here I heard here's one man from Germany. Who's that? You are from Berlin?
Bonn.
Ah, my mother was
My
born.
parents live in Berlin.
No, in Berlin there is a neighborhood, and there you have 80 little above with the light giving. There are 80 little things, but people look at the street and they don't see it always. And if you look up in the whole neighborhood, Schöneberger neighborhood, there are written all kinds of things that Jews were forbidden to do. And at one is written, from 42, they were not allowed to sell soap to Jewish people. Yeah, then they are dirty Jews, no? No, but without any, I don't know, what is that? You couldn't buy any soap. And then there were other things. Jewish children had to walk to school. If they were living more than 4 kilometers, they were allowed to go with the bus, and so on. 80 different things. But with the soap, that I think is really the worst. Okay. And so every day something happened. And in Holland, they really came. We had to be at home from 8 o'clock till 6 in the morning. We had to leave our school. All Jewish children had to leave, and there were open schools for Jewish children with Jewish teachers. Some were in the city, not where we were till now. That was 7 minutes walking from home. We had to walk an hour or so. If you are young, that's nothing. But it was not so nice. And we couldn't buy anymore in any shop, only from 3 to 5, and only in Jewish-owned shops. That will say the vegetable seller could sell everything till 3 o'clock to everybody. Then the Jewish shop owner could buy the leftovers and sell to us from 3 to 5.